Many of these Negro men often wonder why their relationships with this Negro woman often fail or are in a state of turmoil. And the primary reason why many of their relationships fail or are in a state of turmoil have very little to do with this Afro American Negro. While this Afro American Negro has his own dysfunctional state and his own dysfunctional set of issues, the primary reason why relationships between Afro American Negro men and Afro American Negro women fail have to do with this Afro American Negro woman. Now, when it comes down to this Afro American Negro woman, she has low self esteem. And because she has low self esteem, she does not like herself, she does not love herself, and she does not care about herself. And the main reason why she does not like herself, love herself, or care about herself is because she does not love being a black woman. She does not like being a black woman. And she hates the whole idea of being born a black woman. So when she sees a black man, she has nothing but contempt for this black man. She has nothing but pity for, and she pities this black man because he was born a black man. She does not see this black man as somebody valuable, as in a loving relationship that she can have with another human being. She basically sees many of these Negro men as nothing more than tools that she can use to move herself forward. Unfortunately, many of these Afro American Negro men just can't connect the dots regarding the self hate issues that this Afro American Negro woman has and why it leads to many of their relationships deteriorating and breaking down. Because when it comes down to this Negro, all he's thinking about is that made up face, that 66-inch rear end primarily, and those double D's. That's all he wants from this female. And because he can't go past that shallow exterior, he cannot deal with the internal issues that make this Afro American woman completely dysfunctional and impossible to deal with. Because once you start dealing with the female on the inside, you realize that you're dealing with someone who is a complete and utter mental wreck. No matter how much they dress up the outside, the inside is completely screwed up. This is why I can agree with David Carroll when he says the finer the female, the more screwed up she is, because that's that female trying to overcompensate for her feelings of insecurity and low self-esteem by dressing up her outside, because she really feels absolutely horrible about herself on the inside. Unfortunately, many of these Negroes, again, can't think past the exterior to deal with the internal issues. And it's really the internal issues that this female has that causes her relationship with Negro men to fail. Because when it comes down to this female on the inside, she pretty much erects emotional walls around herself. And no matter what this Negro will ever do, he can never convince this female that he loves her. Because every time this male tries to make an effort to connect with her past the physical and tries to make an emotional connection with her, she is going to throw up a series of emotional walls. And when she throws up those emotional walls, she wants to test to see if this man will jump over these hoops and jump over these walls to prove his love for her. Unfortunately, that's an exercise in futility. No man on earth will ever be able to prove that they love this woman, because just as the man overcomes one obstacle, the female is going to throw up another obstacle. And all of these walls are made of solid steel, reinforced with titanium, and nuclear weapons aren't going to be able to get through this wall, because this female will pretty much, again, throw up another wall, and then she's covered in armor. So there is no way for you to form any sort of connection with this female on a spiritual level or an emotional level. It's just not going to happen, because, again, when it comes down to this female, she does not love herself, and you cannot convince her that you love her as much as possible. You can try all you want. The person that needs to be convinced that she's lovable is her. And because she doesn't see herself as lovable, there is no way that you, black man, can ever love her. It's just not going to happen, because you can go out and buy her diamond rings, houses, jewelry, cars. You can go out and help her with her career. She is not going to value any of that, because deep down on the inside, she does not value herself. And because she does not value herself, she cannot love you or value you or appreciate you. This is why these females, whenever they feel upset, they go off on these tirades where they can call you all sorts of names and say all sorts of things to you and destroy your property, because she does not respect you on any sort of level personally. She does not see you as a human being with equal value. In a healthy, loving relationship, both partners love each other enough to value each other and value the things that mean things to them. They understand how important something is to their partner, and because they have allowed themselves to not have these emotional walls, they can see the value in each other. Unfortunately, your Negro female is so insecure on the inside that it's next to impossible for any man to form that connection with her. Because in order to form that connection with someone, you have to make yourself emotionally vulnerable. Unfortunately, your Afro American Negro woman is too scared to make herself emotional and vulnerable to any man, a black man or a white man or any man of any race. She's always going to have that armor on her emotional self. She's always going to have that armor on her spiritual self. And that's in addition to the walls she erects. And when it comes down to this Afro American Negro woman, these walls again are impossible to break through. You can try to do everything for this female and she's going to find fault with it, because she again has these standards that are unrealistic and pretty much impossible to meet. And these standards again are about creating this cat and mouse game where you go back and forth trying to convince her that she's lovable. And you cannot convince her that she's lovable because she does not see herself as lovable. It's like trying to pretty much drink the entire Atlantic Ocean in a glass. It's just not going to happen. But many of these Negroes, they'll spend their entire lives and their entire life savings simping and tricking on these females in an effort to try to win her favor, win her heart, and try to convince them how much they love them. Unfortunately, this female does not love herself, so she can never love you. And this is the big problem that many of these Afro-American Negro men have in their relationships with black women. They just don't understand that the problem with her is that she can be the most attractive woman in the world, but she does not see herself as attractive. And the men that she pursues relationships with pretty much are a reflection of how she sees herself. She sees herself as just as dysfunctional as many of these dusty, busted down Negroes, like these thugs, these dope dealers, and these gangsters. She looks at those men and she sees herself reflected in those men. That's why she is involved with them. That man that she gets with is a reflection of herself. And that's how she has all these dysfunctional relationships, because she herself is dysfunctional. She chooses dysfunctional men because she's dysfunctional. And some of these women, when they talk about this swirling, show how dysfunctional they truly are. Because these are the same females who sit there and say that they can't find good black men, but they deify white men pretty much because they want to have that relationship. That's the one man that they believe will ever love them. You know, because when it comes down to this Negro woman, again, she uses this Negro male as a tool because she's waiting to get to the attention of this white male. And when she goes and gets involved with this white male, again, we start to see a reflection of who she is involved with her. Because again, she goes from the pool of dysfunctional Negroes right over to the pool of dysfunctional white guys. And those same white men who have relationships with this Negro female who is dysfunctional, they start reporting they having the same issues with this Negro woman. When I look at the cases of women like your Halle Berry, here we had a case where the black males, Eric Benet and David Justice, said that they have problems with her controlling issues and her insecurity. And then we have Gabriel Aubrey saying the exact same thing. So it proved to me, that these self-esteem issues and these self-worth issues that these Afro-American Negro women have are pretty much one of the primary reasons why many of these Afro-American Negro women cannot find anybody to have a relationship with. The main reasons why 70% of these black women are single primarily have to do with their mental health and the mindset of these Afro-American Negro women. They just won't allow themselves to be vulnerable. They won't allow themselves to connect with anyone. And it comes to a point where most men realize that time on earth is too precious to waste trying to convince someone who does not love themselves that they are lovable, attractive, and desirable. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.